let's talk about something interesting. I once heard some guy, I think his name is Chase Hughes. He's worked for the US Navy. I think he does sales coaching, law enforcement training, etc., etc. He's some sort of a psychologist expert. I don't really know. But here's what I do know, because he said something that's very, very important, especially with respect to persuasion, manipulation, and sales. He said, and then this is paraphrasing, I'm not quoting him verbatim, but essentially this is what he said. If you're watching the news and you don't hear any nuance, then you're being manipulated. Excuse me. Why is it so difficult to say manipulated? I don't really know. However, that's a very good point. It's a very fair point. If somebody's reporting on something going on and there is no nuance, then obviously they're only reporting half of the truth. Or maybe not even half. Maybe just a fraction of the truth. I don't know exactly what example to use, but let's say that there is a clip. There is a clip of a man punching another man in the face. And the man punching the other guy in the face appears rather violent. But that's just a clip. If you watch the full video, you can see that there is a couple walking down the street, the man and his girlfriend. Some other guy runs up and tries to mug them, pulls a knife, maybe a pistol, whatever. So the woman obviously runs away and is scared and calls the cops. And then you start seeing the man who punched the other guy, obviously being violently enraged and probably afraid, nervous for his life. Like I would have been, like anybody would have been, if there was an altercation in the street. He starts to punch the other dude violently in the face. Maybe even kicks him. And to me, that's justified. And to most people, that's justified. But if people are only watching the short clip, where the guy is punching somebody else violently, seemingly without any reason, it would appear like it was a madman, when in fact he was only defending himself and his girlfriend, which is again justified. So if you extrapolate this way of thinking to anything, to mostly to anything really, everything happens for a reason, but maybe there are multiple reasons. Let's take climate. Or actually, let's pause and backtrack for a second. This happens both in the legacy media, or the regular news, obviously they lie all the time, but more and more increasingly the alternative media as well, the independent media, the the podcasters, the video channels, the independent news, etc., etc. They're lying as much, in my opinion. This is my statement. They're lying as much as the legacy media. Because the legacy media is only reporting one thing, but the alternative media is reporting another thing. And these things might be both true at the same time, only for different conditions. So if I'm reporting only one thing, and I'm omitting the other, then I'm obviously lying. If I'm reporting A, but B is also happening, then I'm lying. But if I'm only reporting B and A is happening, then I'm also lying. And so that's why I'm pretty much at a point now where I don't even want to consume anything that's related to the news, except for just watching what people are talking about. Not because I believe anything that's being reported, because it's all lies. It's lies when you read the legacy media. It's lies when you read or consume the alternative media. Let's take climate change. A typical report from a legacy media news outlet would be something along the lines of, because of man-made greenhouse gas emissions, the temperatures are rising, it's getting hotter, the polar ice caps are melting and sea levels are rising, and we are cooked. That was just a fun gesture at the end. But you get the idea. And so the rebuttal from a An alternative independent news outlet would be something along the lines of, oh, but during winter there's snow, when there's summer there's not snow, temperatures are falling when there is winter, temperatures rising when there is summer. That's how it's always been. Look at you, you're dumb, you don't know what you're talking about, there is no climate change. And that's also wrong. There's obviously a climate change. There's always going to be a climate change because our planet is alive. I'm kind of qualified to talk about this. I say kind of because I briefly studied it as part of my education. But the point is, there's more than one truth when it comes to this topic, and it's quite complex. I mean, most of the climate reports, I think there's a total of 3 climate reports from the UN. Each report is 2,000 plus pages thick, which means there's a total of 6,000 plus pages of literature when it comes to climate change or climate. Which obviously means it can't be summarized in one sentence, or the reports wouldn't have been as thick. It's so dumb. Another one is nutrition. Eating meat is bad for you. Well, yeah, processed meats, sausage, bacon, ham, if that's all you eat, and that's in a diet that consists of hamburgers, pizzas, hot dogs, whatever, obviously that's unhealthy for you. Maybe you could develop cancer from it. But that's not because red whole food based meats is what's dangerous. It's everything else, all the other crap. However, red whole food based meats such as steak, brisket, tenderloin, sirloin, ribeye, etc., chicken, fish, it's healthy for you. Don't come and say otherwise. So therefore, eating meat is not necessarily dangerous for you. Eating processed meats is certainly not good for you. And eating red processed meats in the context of living a sedentary lifestyle where you're consuming a lot of sugar is of course dangerous. So by definition, eating meat could be dangerous for you. But eating ground beef, sirloin, tenderloin, ribeye every single day, if you can do that, with other healthy whole food based foods and living an active lifestyle is not unhealthy for you. So therefore, eating meat is healthy for you. Do you see how both things can be true? Nuance. Think about that. And think about how you can apply that to your persuasion and sales and ventures going forward. If you want to learn more about this, then get subscribed to my email list. The link to do so is in the episode description wherever you're watching and or listening to this. And I'll see you there.